Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no-holds-barred forum for leaders and innovators with award-winning business strategist and financial analyst, LaWanna Bradford with the Bradford Group. With Raw Talk, we are empowering women to rise and succeed in business and finances, and improve the world for the next generation. Get ready to get raw and real. Live each Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on e360tv.com.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. I am LaWanna Bradford and I am so excited to be with you. To those of you who are joining us in our E360 TV community, welcome back. And to those that are joining us on Facebook and LinkedIn, thank you so much for joining us. It is Women's History Month, and there is so much going on, so much dialogue, so much activity around the world. Women celebrating, elevating, amplifying our voices around those things that we want to bring attention to. Those things that will help to not only improve our world today and our lived experiences, but to prepare the world for the next generation. And I'm so excited because I want to talk a little bit about the theme, Embrace Equity. That is the international theme. The national theme for Women's History is Women Who Tell Our Stories. So I'm going to weave a little storytelling into this session. And today I don't have a guest. It's just you and me talking about how we can embrace equity as it relates to pay equity for women. And before we get started, I'm going to do a little cutaway and I'll be right back. Welcome back to our episode entitled Boss Ladies Unite, the Continuing Battle for Equal Pay. It's amazing that we are here in 2023 and this conversation about equal pay between men and women has been going on for over a century. When I think about some of the great names that we know in history, and I'm going to focus this conversation particularly on women in the U.S., but when I think about individuals like Sojourner Truth and Susan B. Anthony, these were women in the 19th century, as early as 1857, who were out on their platforms speaking for women's rights and pay equity. They were visionaries and trailblazers and saw the importance that if we are going to be a support in helping to build and sustain this nation, if we are going to be a part of the workforce, then should we not receive equal pay for the same amount of work? As we go into the 20th century, we have some other giants that we think about. And again, I'm just cherry picking a few of them. Eleanor Roosevelt and her championship around all things women's rights. In fact, she oversaw a committee called the Status of Women during her husband's presidency. And pay equity was one of those conversations. We also had, as we moved into the 70s, Gloria Steinem and Dorothy Pittman Hughes, who were the co-founders of Ms. Magazine, but also were champions around women's rights and elevating the voices of women, coming together as Black, brown, and the white community of women, realizing the importance of the collective voice. It's interesting when I look back and I even think about Susan B. Anthony and Sojourner Truth. they were having conversations, and often we tend to focus on one particular group over another, but these women realized that the voice of the collective was very powerful. And then we look at where we are today, 2023, and we still have voices crying out, whether it's Vice President Kamala Harris, tennis giant and the GOAT, Serena Williams, as well as Tarana Burke, who is the founder of the Me Too movement, and many, many others, like me or possibly like you, who are sick and tired of hearing the same song over and over again about we demand equity. We want equity. We want to be seen, heard, and valued for our contributions. And I'm going to go over, in fact, I want to take this time right now and bring up a little presentation. And I want to go over some stats and the stories that are woven into why this day is so important. And one of the things that I was talking to a friend of mine today, and I told him, I said, I'm really surprised that I'm seeing and hearing some of the buzz in some areas on social media, but in others I don't. I was surprised that even within my women's group, outside of my posts, I didn't see any. I didn't see any conversations around pay equity. And it made me think about one of the disturbing facts that are out there, that women will talk about anything else, but they're not very comfortable talking about finances. Well, ladies, if we don't talk about finances, if we're not telling our stories, if we're not willing to be at the table to help to facilitate the change that we want, then we can't get upset when the change that we hope for is slow in coming, or it's stagnant. We have a responsibility, I believe, a social responsibility, a fiduciary responsibility, if you will, to protect the next generation and to prepare their tomorrow for them by doing the right thing today. Well, doing the right thing is getting involved, getting at the table. If you're in a position that you have platforms to help raise awareness, why not use them? If you're an employer, perhaps you can go back and assess if there's any pay gaps in your landscape. Are there perhaps some gender inequities that you didn't realize? Today is Equal Pay Day, March 14th, 2023, Equal Pay Day. And when we think about what that means, it means that for every 12 months that a man works and earns $1, the average woman, and we're going to focus on the white woman, has to work an extra 3 months, which is March 14th, to earn 84 cents for the same amount of work that the man completed and earned in 12 months. So think about that. A man works 12 months, has his paycheck, feels good, goes home, is able to do whatever he wants. But for a woman, the same amount of work on average is having to work an extra 3 months to get the same amount of pay. So when you're annualizing it, that's where we're getting the 84 cents on the dollar. Now, some of you may think, LaWanna, I've heard these stats before. Okay, already. Why are we talking about it again? Why are we beating the drum? Well, the same reason we beat the drum for many causes. It's to create an awareness. It's to create a buzz. It's to create momentum. It's to create activity and actions that are going to help facilitate change. And if it's not you who's willing to come to the table, if it's not you who's willing to make a difference, then who? Because right now I can tell you, you and I, if we were ever in the workforce, whether full-time or part-time, or if we're contributing, meaning we are employers of individuals who are in the workforce, we are benefactors of the Susan B. Anthony's, the Sojourner Truths, the Eleanor Roosevelts, the Gloria Steinems, the Dorothy Pittman Hughes. We are benefactors of their voices. In 1963, we celebrated the Equal Pay Act. It was a framework to say that there was going to be equity in how individuals were paid. Unfortunately, like many frameworks in this country, they weren't ironclad. Because if we were, I believe that legislation would have shifted and changed everything overnight. So now we have the Paycheck Fairness Act that has been reintroduced as a bill to say, okay, we know we have the Equal Pay Act, but let's bring this Paycheck Fairness Act to the table. Thanks to Representative Rosa DeLauro and Senator Patty Murray, we thank them for having the boldness and the integrity to say this needs to come back to the table. So we need to continue this dialogue in order to bring a passage of a law that's going to help to ensure that pay equity isn't just something that we talk about, but something that we truly experience. When we think of Pay Equity Day or Equal Pay Day, for African American women, as I mentioned, the average is 84 cents. African American women are earning 64 cents on the dollar. It will take us 100 years, again, 100 years to create equity, equal pay, if things continue as is. And I'm going to show you another slide to see how much money is being lost due to inequity in our pay system. Our Latinx women, they are losing more than $1.1 million over when you think about their career, an average 40-year career. 1.1 million in earning potential is lost because they're earning 54 cents on a dollar. They and Native Americans earning 54 cents on the dollar. You may think, I don't believe that. But sometimes when we're looking in our circle, you may be a high earner, or you may be a mid-level earner, and all your friends are equal to that. But if you just do your homework and look at what the average household is making, combined income household is making in this economy, it's frightening, right? So our pay, our ability to earn has not kept up with the rising inflation. The cost of living is rising and wages are pretty flatlined. Right now, there's a discussion with what President Biden is going to do. In 2023, that was one of the largest pay increases that was approved for those that are in the federal workforce. Well, what about those who aren't in the federal workforce? What are we going to do to ensure that there is equal pay for equal work? When we think about Equal Pay Day, when you have equal pay, when your earning potential has been increased, right? And there is equity there is so much more you're able to do. You think about now you have this discretionary income. So now the work-life balance really becomes work-life balance. Now you're able to enjoy friends and family more. You're not just living paycheck to paycheck. right? Or trying to decide what do I not pay today so that I can do X tomorrow. When we have that work-life balance, it also has a mental and physical impact. Think about how stressed you might be if you look down and you have a bill that's due, and it may be your utilities, your light, your electricity, your gas. It may be your ability to pay your mortgage or your rent. Imagine the stress that's there. But we know the impact that stress has on our mental and physical well-being. So this isn't just a casual problem, but it's a problem that has far-reaching ramifications when we really think about how our access to occupations that enable us to earn a fair and equitable pay is when we compare it to not being able to have those opportunities because of systems that may be in place or because of biases that may exist. There are those realities that we have to be willing to talk about. Now, some may think, well, LaWanna, I didn't realize this show was going to be a political show. It's not. It's about creating the lifestyle that you want to have. And depending on what country you're in, it requires a certain amount of finances to do that. And if you have done everything that a man has done, but you're getting paid 20 cents, 40 cents, almost 50 cents less than, and you have the same education, the same background, the same experience, and doing virtually the same work, is it fair? Are you okay with staying silent? Are you okay with hoping that someone speaks on your behalf? We have the opportunity at the state, local, and federal level to exercise our voices. That may be in the vote. That may be at different tables where discussions are being had. That may be if you're in HR and you're looking at position descriptions and determining how positions are going to be rated and graded, and perhaps it's having a set committee that is reviewing your hiring processes so that when you're hiring individuals for the same job, who have the same skill sets and backgrounds, that your gender shouldn't decide how much you get or how little you get. When we think about Equal Pay Day, what we're celebrating is when we are able to have equality in pay, then women are able to truly have an impact on their family. They're able to raise their children with confidence, with security. When you think about women today, most women by the age of 60 are going to fall in three categories. In three categories when it comes to their finances. They're going to still be single, which means they're the sole bread earner. They're going to be widowed, which means they're the sole bread earner, or they're going to be divorced, right? Which means sole bread earner. So by choice, divorce, or unfortunate circumstance and death. That is why we need to come to the table. We need to have these conversations. We need to create awareness and to show people what you can do, how you can get involved. I found this visual very telling. So remember, we were dissecting how much the different groups of women earn per dollar that a man earns, a white man earns here in the United States. When we think of Asian American and Pacific Islanders, and we're looking at the pay gap, that's a 400,000 pay gap. when we're looking at white women, again, that's where we have the 85 cents on the dollar. And look at how the gap increases to over 900,000 for African American women. And then when you get to Hispanic women, over 1 million. So that is the earning potential lost because of the pay disparity that's there. Think about that. And think about the pandemic and how at the height of the pandemic, those that were most crippled by it, even though we were all impacted, were women. Most of the devastated industries women worked in. So when women are coming off the job and then they're sandwiched between taking care of an aging parent and children, they may be single, they may be the sole bread earner. Think about what that does to them. I mean, we actually took a few paces back because of the pandemic. Now we're trying to rise forward. How do we do that? One of the things that we can do is, again, get involved locally. Understand what's happening at your state level. Understand what's happening at the federal level. I want to do a quick breakaway, and we will come right back. It is Women's History Month, and we are here talking about Equal Pay Day, which is today, March 14th, Equal Pay Day, and celebrating the importance of raising our voices, spotlighting this problem that has been going on for over a century. As I mentioned previously, since the 1800s, we've had women elevating their voices consistently, systematically, about the injustice in our wage system, about the inequities facing women who have spotlighted women's rights, equal pay. We have a chance to be a part of history that makes a difference. We have a chance to be on the right side of the table that is willing to negotiate, that's willing to write those letters to our representatives and senators to say, wait a minute, let's talk about this Paycheck Fairness Act. If you're watching this and you're in other countries, this conversation is a global conversation. I'm just giving you from the context of where I am here in the United States of America, but it is a global conversation about equal pay and what can be done. How can we bring about that change, that sustainable change? So what can you do? What can we do? I'll name a few things. The first is, and I want to put this here if I can, if you're able to see this, is you can always join or tap into a few resources, equalpaytoday.org and go.equalrights.org. Again, equalpaytoday.org and go.equalrights.org. And these websites give you a ton of information on historical accounts, what's going on today, different activities that are out there. They have templates, they have letters that you can send out, they have suggestions on how you can get involved. whether you're volunteering, whether you're developing your own little community groups, the different organizations that are out in partnership. These are two of the many resources that are out there. You can be involved in outreach. You can be involved in wage groups. And here in the United States, every state has wage groups. And these are little small collaborations of women coming together, having the conversations and seeing what things, actionable things they can take to move the needle. You can choose to become an equal rights advocate. Sometimes we fall into the role of advocacy. It just sort of happens upon us. But there's always room for more advocates. In raising the awareness, you can get involved locally, socially. There's social justice organizations. There's workers' justice organizations. There are countless nonprofit entities that are out there that are looking for that support. Maybe you're saying, well, I just don't want to, I'm strapped. I just don't want to get involved like that with my time. I get it. But it doesn't hurt to share with your neighbor, with your friends, with your family, create an awareness, or perhaps you're able to financially contribute to these causes that are out there. Because again, ladies, the more we do today, the better it will be for our daughters tomorrow. The more we do today. Think about it. If you're a mother, a grandmother, an auntie, a sister, have a goddaughter, have a friend, think about her. Think about what you can do to make that road a little bit easier so that she can have the safety and the security and the financial sustainability to build her family, to strengthen her community, to create legacy. We talk about generational wealth. We hear that a lot. But how do we do it when there's so much inequity around us? Is it impossible? No. People are doing it. But we have to be willing to have the financial conversations. And that's where your financial coaches, advisors, your entire financial team comes together to help you in this. But if you are earning a salary, a wage, or are an employer providing a salary or wage, I want you to think about this. Think about equal pay day. To learn more about Business and Financial Raw Talk, where we come and sort of push the envelope and help to shift the mindset when it comes to business and finances, and you'd like to be a part, you can definitely email me at LaWanna at BradfordGroupMTG.com and put in Raw Talk, and a member of our team will get back to you to have a conversation. Would love to get your insights on all things business, all things finances. I believe that there is a wealth of information and wisdom out there. And it's up to us to share the knowledge, right? Why hold it in? You can always connect with me on Instagram, Facebook. Again, email me at LaWanna at BradfordGroupMTG.com, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn by my name, LaWanna Bradford, Instagram, the LaWanna Bradford. Would love to talk to you and just come up with some ideas and some solutions on what we can do in our own sphere of influence. I mean, think about how exciting and how impactful that is. If in your own sphere, you can create this ripple of change, and then they take it and do a little more, and so on and so on. I believe we can start to see a shift. The Susan B. Anthony's and the Sojourner Truths believed it, and we saw some change. Right? The Gloria Steinems, the Dorothy Pittman Hughes, the Eleanor Roosevelts, they believed it, and we saw some change. And now we have the Kamala Harris. We have Serena Williams, right? We have you, we have me, who have hope, who have faith that we can make a difference, that our voices do matter. Because when we stand up to the table, when we take our rightful seat, when we showcase our value, when we say we are not going to tolerate anything less than, change does come. May not come as fast as you like, but change does come. I'd like to give a special shout out to our sponsor, and then I'll be back to close this out for this evening. I want to close by reading a quote that I shared earlier in one of the videos. And this is by Maria Shriver. And she said, when we pay women less than men, we are telling women that their work is not valuable. But I say we are equally valuable and we should be paid equally. So ladies, rise up, tell your story, realize your value, challenge the systems that are out there. Fight for what is right. Know that you can make a change. Be a part of the wave of change with your voice, with your action, with your donations. I believe you can make a difference. I believe collectively we can make a difference. I believe we can see a shift, not only here in the United States, but around the world, where opportunity, where the hashtag embrace equity becomes a reality and not just a hashtag, right? So with that, I want to thank you so very much for joining me, LaWanna Bradford, for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. Remember that in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. I look forward to seeing you next week. Be safe. Take care.